complimentary sessions for A1 level German, of course, for practical daily use. Here is the agenda. You can go through it by pausing the video. This is the disclaimer. Again, pause the video if you want to go through it. Some to-dos for absolute beginners. We did this in the last session. Please go back to it if you have not done it. So the to-do is that you should learn the German alphabets. Why do you need this? You need this when you are talking to, let's say you want to change your contracts, SIM card contract, phone contract, internet contract, any kind of contract in Germany. You call customer care, and to identify you, they will ask your name, and then quite often you will have to give them the alphabets of your name because they won't understand sometimes what you're saying. So you will have to, let's say if your name is Max, so you will have to say M-A-X. That's why you need the German alphabets. What you have learned so far, so you know how to greet someone, you know different kinds of greetings, when to use which one. For example, you can use hello all the time, but then you will also see that sometimes people in canteens, they greet each other by saying Mahlzeit. Then what you can say when you are taking leave from someone. So you can say ciao, you can say auf Wiedersehen. If it's just a short leave from someone, then it will be bis gleich. And then many other greetings that you can say when you are taking leave from someone. How to ask about someone's well-being. So wie geht's dir, alles klar, and many other ways. How to write simple sentences. How to write or ask simple W-word kind of questions. By W-word, I mean who, when, what, how, which, such kind of questions. Then how to frame simple yes or no kind of questions. Here, when I say how, it means the grammar. So what comes where? So the verb is at the second position or is it at the first position? Then the different personal pronomen, the pronouns in German language. So in English we have he, she, it, they, we, I. In German we have a few more. Then you know how to count from 0 to 10 and how to say 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100 in German language. Then this was a homework, how to say a few things about yourself. All right, just as a short quiz for all of you, just to check if you have been implementing the philosophy or the strategy that I want you guys to implement, is that whenever you hear or read something in English, see if you know the German word for it, and if you don't, try to find it on leo.org website. For example, to greet, the word is begrüßen. To take leave from someone, the verb is sich verabschieden. Then fragen is for to asking. Schreiben is for to write. Then you have fragen again, to ask, fragen again. Then zählen. So zählen is to count. Then you also have zahlen. Let me just write that down over here. So you also have zahlen. There's a difference between zahlen and zählen. So zählen means to count. Zahlen means to pay. Okay. Then you also have bezahlen. See if you can find out the difference between zahlen and bezahlen. All right. What's next? So of course, how to say to say. The verb is sagen. Then someone, it's jemand. Then how is wie. So things, sometimes in English you say that thing, this thing. Similarly, you can also use the nouns Dinge or Sachen. Then what you must learn today, you must learn the articles that we use in German language. Then you should learn what are regular and irregular verbs and also what are mixed verbs. So 3 different kinds of verbs. Then you will learn how to give instructions, or how actually, I call it, just to make it funny, anger management is how you can show someone the way to door. Let's say you're talking to someone and you don't want to talk to that person, and how in your head, just to make it fun for you, how you can, in your head, you can, if you had powers, how you can just ask that person to go here, go left, go right, go straight, and then eventually that person is at the door. Actually, you know how to do this. So you know how to do this, you just don't know the context in how to do it. All right. We will start conjugating.
You know the different personal pronouns in German language. If you ask me, I think you need verbs to do 2 things in general.
let us start with conjugating verbs in German language. That is also there. So before I do that, let's see, why do you need verbs at all? No one is going to ask you this, but to build up what I want to help you in understanding, you will start with the question, why do you need verbs, or why do you need verbs? So you will need verbs to do at least two things. The first one is you just want to describe a state. Let's say you are walking down the road, you see someone, you are in a garden, you are in a supermarket, you see someone and you think, this person is really pretty, or this person is handsome. So if it's a guy, you will say er ist hübsch. If it's a woman or someone, you will say, if it's a woman, you will say sie ist hübsch, or sie ist niedlich, or sie ist pretty. You can also use English adjectives. So, or let's say someone gives you a coffee and it's really hot, so you will say, es ist heiß, right? Or for example, the weather nowadays in Germany, sometimes it's cold, sometimes it's warm. So you go out and you feel it's warm today, so you will say, es ist warm heute. Other day you go out and it's cold, you will say, es ist kalt heute. Here, so what you are doing is you are just describing state. So for that, you can use the verb sein. All right, let's see what's next. So another reason why you need verbs is to describe an action. For example, let's say you see someone is dancing or someone dances. Let's say if it's a woman, so you say sie tanzt. So tanzt is to dance. Here you are describing an action. So this is an action. Why did I teach you this? So actually you need this knowledge when you are when you are talking about past tense, but it's nice that you have heard about it. Let's come to conjugating verbs. So to conjugate verbs, you need to be aware of two very basic rules. So these two rules are, is that what is the subject that is being used in the sentence, and in which tense is the sentence based in right now. So is it present tense, past tense, or future tense? But for now, we will only focus on present tense. So the only rule that we need to follow is what is the subject of the sentence. Also, just to tell you what is conjugation, if you ask me, it's nothing but you change the spelling of the verb based on the pronoun or the subject of the sentence. So in English, we say I dance, he dances, she dances, they dance. So when you are saying he, she, you add s at the end of dance. So you change the spelling, or you can say you are conjugating the verb for the given subject. Okay, that's what conjugation means. All right, as I said, for this session, we will only focus on sentences that describe present case. So only sentences which are describing something that is happening in present tense. So now that you know you are only focusing on present tense, here also, so depending on the verb that you are dealing with, the conjugation style will change. For example, if it's a regular verb, or is it an irregular verb, or is it a mixed verb? Now, what is a regular verb? Regular verb, no one is ever going to ask you what a regular verb is when you are speaking German, maybe in an exam, but not on daily basis. But just so you know, regular verbs, we call them regular because when we are conjugating them, they follow the same pattern. So let's say if you give me a regular verb and I teach you how to conjugate this, so how will this verb change for SZ? How will this verb change for ich, du, ia, small sc, capital SC? You can use the same pattern to conjugate a different regular verb. That's why they are called as regular verbs. Then we have irregular verbs. They don't explicitly follow a pattern. What do I mean by this? So they can be, let's say for example, there are many irregular verbs. Let's say there are only 100 irregular verbs. So 3 of them may follow one pattern. The next 4 may follow a different pattern. So I don't think you should try to memorize all these patterns. It's just that, just think of the verb that you need and just learn the conjugation. Then we have mixed verbs. They are called mixed verbs because they are sometimes regular, sometimes irregular. Normally, we have noticed that they are regular in present tense, but they behave like irregular verbs in past tense. All right, in this session, we will only focus on regular verbs, and that too the ones that end in en, n, or eln. One common verb that ends in en is tanzen. one common verb that ends in ERN is wandern. One common verb that ends in ELN, sorry, this heading has to be ERN. So another common verb that ends in ELN is segeln. Tanzen means to dance, wandern means to hike, segeln means to sail. SAIL, sail. Let's see what is the pattern for a verb ending in EN. So what you do is you take the EN part, the ending, and what you are left with is called as the stem of the verb or Verbstamm. Now if you want to conjugate it for ish, you add E at the end. If you want to conjugate it for do, you add st. For rsz, you add t, and for ia as well, you add t. For every other personal pronoun, you can just use this, and this is called as infinitive form of the verb. So the rule is that when you learn a noun, so when you learn, let's say, a noun, you always learn it with the correct article in nominative case. Also, a recommendation is that when you learn a new German verb, always learn it in infinitive form. Okay. All right. Next verb is wandern. This one ends in ERN, or you can also think it of as N. So here, what you do is you take only the N part away, and what you are left with is called as the Verbstamm or the stem of the verb here. Then to conjugate it for ish, again you add E. Then conjugating it for do, you have to add st. Then for the other two, rsz and ia, you add t and t. And for small sc, capital sz, you just use the infinitive form. Then for verb ending in eln, example segeln, you again only take the n part away. What you are left with is called as the Verbstamm. You add e, st, t, t. So for ish, do, rsz and ia respectively. So we follow the same pattern for all of these. So now when you see another verb that ends in eln, if it's a regular verb, you can follow this pattern to conjugate it. All right. Articles. In English, we have the as an article, then we have a and an as articles. So in English, the is normally we refer to it as definite article. In German, we also have definite articles, but instead of just one, we only see three, but there are four. But the fourth one is quite obvious. So, but let's look at what is there. So if let's say if I want to say the something, right? And the something in German language is considered to be masculine, then we will use der. If this something is considered to be feminine, then we will use die. If this something is considered to be neutral, neither masculine nor feminine, but neutral, then we will use das. Examples are, for example, very common example is, let's say, der Mann, right? Okay, I use R, that stands for the ER, so der Mann. For example, then die Frau. Kind, so child is usually referred to as considered to be neutral, but then there are other examples also. For example, chair, right? So chair, it's Stuhl, it's considered to be masculine. Cup, which is Tasse, is considered to be feminine. Okay? This way, so you already are learning nouns with their nominative articles. This is how you should learn the new nouns. What you see over here, this or, ling, ig, neros, smus. So when you learn a new noun, let's say if you just hear a noun and someone asks you, is it masculine, feminine, or neutral? To take a calculated guess, you can look at its ending, and if it is ending with in either of the or, ling, ig, ner, smus, there is a high chance that it happens to be masculine. And if it is ending in ong, ie, ei, keit, het, shaft, or so and so on, there is a high chance that it will be feminine. And I believe you know the story for this one. Okay. That's why always, so this blue banner is telling you what I said, always learn a German noun with the correct article. Which article? Nominative article. If you don't know what nominative is, it's fine, but just learn it with the correct article. So whenever you are using this leo.org website, it gives you the noun with the article, and that article is always nominative. Okay. Then for plural, so let's say if I say the star, then it's the star. But if I want to say the stars, okay, so stars is plural, so it will be die Sternen. Okay, then der Stern, die Sternen. Okay, by the way, these are, I mean, I think it's obvious now. So these articles, der, die, das, and again die are referred to as bestimmte Artikel. Again, guys, there can be other tips as well. So there can be other endings that help you identify is it there, the, or das. But I think these should be enough. But actually, you should just learn the. Don't depend on these endings. Just learn it by heart. So what is the? It is there, the, or das. Then, so we looked at bestimmte Artikel, definite articles. We can now look at unbestimmte Artikel, meaning indefinite articles. So in English we have a and an. In German we have two, ein, einer, and ein. So ein and ein. So it's so for masculine and for neutral it's the same ein. For feminine it's einer. Okay. For plural there is none. Then we have Negationsartikel. So what are Negationsartikel? Let's say if you want to say let's say if I want to say there are stars, okay, so here you are not using any article, right? So if I want to say there are stars, there are stars, right? So here I'm not using any article, right? So you can just do with the you can just use the unbestimmte Artikel. But if I say there are no stars, then how do you say this no, right? Then you will have to use this Negationsartikel, okay? So here, because it is plural, so you will have to use the plural Negationsartikel, which is keine, okay? And for masculine and neutral, again it's the same, kein. For feminine, it's keine. Okay. Homework, I hope it's obvious. Then again, some little bit more homework. So I had requested you to make a list of stuff that you can find in your room or in your office. You know, in your office the relevant objects are printer, coffee machine, scan machine. I believe nowadays they both are the same. Printing and scanning, you can do it in the same machine, or any objects that are of interest to you that you need to speak in German. Okay. Now just learn all of these with the correct bestimmte Artikel. Is it there, the, or das? This is what this one is saying. Let's move on to the next slide. Okay. Now what you can do as homework is, so now that you learned now that you will be learning every new noun with the correct bestimmte Artikel, but you can just learn them mechanically, or you can play this simple game. So everything that you see, you just ask yourself in your head, was ist das? Meaning, what is this or what is that? Then you can answer, das ist ein or einer. So you can say, let's say right now I'm sitting on a chair, right? So I will ask, was ist das? Then I have to answer was ist das? So I will say, das ist Stuhl, that is for German chair. And then Stuhl happens to be there, so it will be ein Stuhl, right? There is a cup. Okay, this homework. So you can learn all the nouns with the correct nominative article, bestimmte Artikel mechanically, and then you can play this simple game. What you can do is, for example, right now I'm sitting on a chair, so I will ask, was ist das? Okay, meaning I will ask, was ist das? In my head, or I can say it loudly, and then I have to answer, what is it? So I will say, das ist, and because we are talking about chair, so it happens to be Stuhl, and it is der Stuhl, so it will be ein Stuhl. Okay, there is a cup in on my table, so if I say was ist das, so I will say das ist eine Tasse. Why eine? Because Tasse is feminine. Okay, then you will say, you will do it with the, das ist der Stuhl, right? Das ist die Tasse. And then you will say, das ist kein Stuhl, das ist keine Tasse. Okay, this is what you do. The other homework is think of all the places that you visit on a daily, weekly or monthly basis, and yeah, do this game, play this game. Okay, this is the same. Yeah, now again, giving instructions to people. For example, quite often it happens that I personally never, like, I always use Google Maps when I'm going somewhere to a new place, but quite often, let's say if someone asks you, how do I go there, right? Or let's say if you're at some place and someone comes and asks you, hey, where is this road? And you can, and you are in a position to guide this person. So you can say, go left, go right, go straight. Then how do you do that? You just say, to say go right, you will say gehen Sie rechts. For left, you will say gehen Sie links. And you can say gehen Sie geradeaus. As conjunctions, you can use dann, right? So you can say gehen Sie rechts, so go right. Then to say then, you can say dann, gehen Sie links, then gehen Sie geradeaus. Whichever way is the correct